Hey, Mike here. So this is part 2 of this video about this wood chipper. It's a Woodmaxx WM-86H, as you can see. This thing is attached to my Kubota B-2601. About 25.5 horsepower on the engine, rated at about 19.5 horsepower at the PTO, which is just above the minimum 19 rated for this particular wood chipper. I just got this thing about a week and a half ago, and probably got about 7.5 hours on it and made that pile of wood chips. This isn't all of it. This is probably the majority of what I've done, but the rest of it was back in the woods. This is mostly maple, hard maple and red maple. It seems to do pretty well with maple, which is good because I have a shit ton of it. A lot of this pole wood. I just wanted to discuss it here a little bit. I did a demonstration, which was I think helpful. I know the other videos were helpful for me whenever I was trying to decide what I was going to buy, just to kind of get an idea what it will do. I saw it run on smaller tractors. Mostly it was in the 30-some horsepower range, but I just wanted to show what it will do on a small, it's a 26 horsepower. They do make one that's slightly smaller that I looked at, which is like the 86 TM86 or something. It's a 120-pound flywheel. This is a 200. I like this. I like a big flywheel because I don't have a ton of power up there. So if I do get into something a little bit bigger, it's got that energy stored up in that flywheel, and it can recover. Also, if I am, this is feed. It's kind of backwards. So that's reverse. Pull it. And that's forward. It's just kind of weird too, this stop bar. But what I'll do is if I get into something that's too big, I can reverse it. I can either put it in neutral, which is usually what I do, or I can just reverse it entirely, let the flywheel catch up, and then hit it again. I found out that probably in the 4-inch maple range is that's necessary. I've done as much as 5-inch. I've only stalled this tractor one time, and that was before I kind of figured this out. I don't really need to do anything that big. Like some of these pieces over here I could do. This one here would be fine. This thing, that's getting into the bigger end of things, and that one's real big. You would just have to go real slow, and it's not really worth it. I'll cut that up for firewood, all that stuff there. But the little like 2 to 3-inch maple, boy, I can do that all day, which is great. A couple things I try to point out in the first part of this video was cutting the butt off, or any cut you make, kind of do it at an angle. It does really help because it'll feed into that hydraulic wheel much easier. Less time struggling with it. Also, you get up into the tops of some of these trees, and anything, maybe 3/4 inch to an inch where it forks, it's going to get stuck down there in the throat. And you could cut it off, and then you have to pick that up, or you can just nip it a little bit, just nick it, so that once it gets in there, it'll fold real easily. That way, when you drag the tree over, everything comes with it. A guy from work taught me that. Probably anybody that runs one of these on a regular basis already knew that, but I didn't. Some other things I noticed, it's an unusual design. Maybe it's a little bit more like the big boy chippers, because it is hydraulic feed, and it's kind of got a horizontal table as opposed to the self-feeding ones, which have kind of the upward facing horn, which is like what that TM86 has, even though it also has hydraulics on it. It looks odd. It's weird looking. I really seriously considered the TM86, but it has a smaller flywheel, and yeah, that's largely it. I mean, this was a little bit more money, but I liked the bigger flywheel, and I thought, I watched a couple videos. It seemed to do really well. So I also looked at the Woodland Mills. I'm sure that's a fine model. I couldn't really tell you exactly why I decided on Woodmaxx over Woodland Mills. I know the flywheel got me. I don't know if Woodland Mills also has a large one. I'm sure, like I said, it's a fine machine. Probably what put me over the edge was a feature or two, and no doubt the color. So I'll admit that it's visually appealing. So a couple things that I probably would that I've noticed is when I'm feeding it, sometimes it'll slip, it'll spin on a piece of wood. You can, I bought this so you can feed it in there and it doesn't bog down and kill the tractor. It'll hold back a little bit, but also so it self-feeds at a regular rate, and I can walk back in the woods and grab another piece or cut or whatever I need to do. Sometimes it'll quit if you have something that's really long. You know, you have to come back here and pick up in the middle and kind of feed it in a little bit to get it started, and then if it quits, you kind of have to pick it up again. You get that upward angle like the self-feeders with the upward facing horn the way they do. A better solution is just to cut them into smaller sections. You know, maybe 12 foot is probably a good length. I could, you know, if I just had a stack of 2 or 3 inch diameter 12 foot long maple poles, I could just feed that shit in there all day long. And it does great. Definitely launches, you throw something bigger in there, it makes bigger chips and it chucks them farther for sure. The smaller stuff. Don't do it into the wind. Should go without saying, but I did it. You know, you get a face full of it, like, you know, snow blowing or something. If you can, you know. Little improvements I would probably make. You know, all these bolts, they do say in the instructions after all the steps of putting all this stuff together, that if you want to, you could turn these around the other way. They wouldn't catch so much. They definitely do catch when you're going to shove something in there, especially when you have something long and you're back there and you're trying to shove it in and it's hitting here in the corner. So I should have read through all the instructions and probably put them the other way, but I think, you know, a square hole with like a round-headed, you know, carriage bolt would make sense, where you stick it in that way, and then it'd be nice and smooth and round on the inside, and put your nut on the outside. It'd be a good design feature. The table is kind of weird. You know, it's got this whole frame. It houses the tank, and there's a pump down there that runs off hydraulic or off the PTO. It's got those skids on the feet. I mean, it's kind of an awkward looking thing, but it's not really designed to be, you know, I'm not going to go around, you know, bucketing and doing a lot of work with the tractor. I'm not digging or anything like that when this thing's on here. It's damn heavy. It's 990 pounds. You can feel all of it. I have a big rock in the bucket just to give me a little more counterweight. I don't pick it up real high, so it's tough getting into odd places back in the woods, going through gullies or something. So I might have to adjust my 3-point to pick it up a little bit higher. They offer a premium PTO shaft. I didn't really know what was premium about it, but I probably would buy it if I could do it again. This is some cheap Chinese thing, I don't know. I had to cut it. It's a B2601, so this tractor, anything similar or smaller, I'd imagine you're gonna have to cut it too. I had a hell of a time taking these shrouds off. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I didn't care for that. I also broke one of the grease fittings out. Cheap grease fittings. I probably should have taken the paint off of it. I also broke the one off of this bearing here. And again, this might be my carelessness. I just I wouldn't take grease, and it got a lot of pressure, and then I couldn't get my grease gun off of it. And wouldn't you know, I broke the damn thing off today. So I think I can get by with, you know, I got by without having it well greased today, but next time I get it out, I'm going to make sure I get everything greased good and have some extra grease fittings and some pulls and stuff in case that happens again. So I don't know if it's just cheap grease fittings. They do suggest checking all the bolts and stuff, you know, things shake loose. Actually, this one on the other side. I will point out this this opening here, which is, you know, needed. That motor and wheel to travel up through there. I got a stick came out here the first day I used it, and it jammed in behind here, and it wouldn't allow this to come down. That was a bear to get out of there, but that's just, you know, shit happens. I did have this one, the stopper bolt, shake loose on me, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't gripping anything, but it wasn't coming down the whole way because this threaded out. I did tighten these springs up just about 6 turns, try to get a little more grip on it. I might do a little bit more. We'll see about that. I'm just taking it easy. Hydraulic fittings, they were all tight, even though they suggested tightening them. They were good. So the chute seems to work pretty good. You can adjust the output there. When I was out back in the woods just clearing some trails, and I wasn't even trying to collect the wood chip. I was just blowing it on the ground, build the soil up a little bit, develop some fungal networks. I would just take this thing and just really open it wide open so that it wasn't even hitting the top of the chute, and that would kind of make it blow a little bit more. It'd get in my face more, but it would distribute a little bit better, you know, if that's what you're into doing. In this particular case, I'm going to use those chips for something. It's a pretty good mechanism for adjusting it. It did have these wing nuts in here, 2 of them, which I assume is to keep this thing from rattling around. Of course, the first one shook loose the first day, and the second one shook loose the second day. It was just kind of a pain in the ass, so I don't think I really need them, but yeah, it's a pretty good mechanism. The knives are reversible. I didn't get an extra set. You know, maybe when I go to reverse them, maybe I'll think about buying an extra set at that point. Got to get in behind here and grease some of this stuff up underneath. But overall, yeah, I'm pretty pleased. Just 8 hours right there on the hour meter. Seems to run really well. Maple, cherry's pretty tough. It'll do it, you know, but you know, again, it's pole wood. I definitely wouldn't do anything bigger than I do in maple and cherry. Oak, you can do it, but it's smaller, yeah, smaller red oak. I'm going to try to avoid it. Tulip tree, or tulip poplar, yellow poplar, whatever you call it. That's easy, as you'd imagine. It's pretty soft. Did a lot of witch hazel back through the trails. That works real good. And hell, I even put a little bit of locust through it. But around here, it's going to be mostly maple. A shit ton of little pole wood. So, going to get a lot of firewood out of the butts. Little stuff that I don't have to split. But I'm going to get a hell of a lot of pole wood. So, hope that helps anybody that's interested in buying a wood chipper. This WM-86H, as far as I'm concerned, is perfectly well suited for a tractor this size. You just have to know the limitations of what the machine can do. But I think I found that, and I'm pretty pleased so far. I would suggest, though, if you're looking into it, you know, check out the Woodland Mills too. They're both fine machines. I had to wait a couple of months to order this because they were so back ordered. But when I finally did get to order it, it was here in about a week. It was just, you know, week and a day business wise. But yeah, check her out. So thanks for watching.